Hi, Guy Griffiths here from GG Fit with a webinar that I've recently been presenting live on managing membership payments. So this is a pre-record, but I'm going to take you through the ways that clubs have already been managing the membership payments and the route forward, as I see it, through lockdown into month 2, possibly month 3, and how we're going to come out of this and still retain as many members as possible by managing the membership payments and by looking at the processes we're going to go through. This is equally valid for independent clubs as it is for big box gyms, public leisure centres, trusts, and private clubs. In fact, I've been chatting to quite a few other membership organisations, including golf clubs and other membership companies about how they're managing their payments. So hopefully there's some interesting stuff in here for all sorts of people. I've broken it down broadly into 3 situations. Some clubs are still taking full payment from their members, at least in month 1. Some have said that they're going to take a part payment, what I would call a freeze. And I know that the naming convention might be different for different systems or different clubs. But for me, a freeze is something where something is paid, whether it's 50% or 5% of the normal monthly dues. So that's some kind of membership freeze where you're still taking a payment. And then the free suspend is the third and final option, which is the first one I'm going to jump into. So in terms of how that works, it's a suspended payment. We're not taking any payments from our members at all. It's been the default option, I think, for a lot of operators, particularly leisure trusts and public sector operators, the big clubs with thousands and thousands of members. So they've said, we are suspending payments. We're not going to take our direct debit from you next month because you can't come and train at the club. So that was just the most fair option that they thought. The intention is to retain members, of course, and it may be alongside some kind of digital offering, which will also help to reinforce the relationship and try and keep those members. It's interesting, though, that even though as I say, a lot of the big leisure providers have suspended payments, they're still seeing lots of cancellations. And there's a few reasons for that. The simplest is that they emailed all of their members to say they are going to be suspending payments and not taking the direct debit. That would have woken up some sleepers who haven't been for months and months and months. So they would naturally have cancelled because they've been reminded they had a membership. Also, there'll be people who haven't received the email and don't know that there is a suspension happening. Email open rate is generally the industry around 20%. So, I mean, hopefully the messages that were sent out had good subject lines and were being expected. So open rates were better than that, I expect. But there has been a lot of email traffic during coronavirus. So a lot of people won't have seen the mail and will then have gone to cancel their direct debit because they didn't know they were suspended. And the final one is that they did receive the email, they did open it, but they don't trust the whatever operator it is to not take payment, even though they said they were going to. So the point is there have been cancellations regardless of the fact that people have suspended. So at the other end of the scale, we've got paid in full. Why would you still pay in full? Well, a lot of oh, by the way, paid in full, just a shout out obviously to Eric B and Rakim there, in terms of the reference to paid in full. The reason a lot of independents went paid in full, so they're still taking full payment, is because that's what their members wanted. There's an independent club there, that's what they look like on my map anyway. So members said, we want to support our local business, we want to support you as an independent club, so we still want to pay, at least in month 1. And that has been the message that a lot of clubs have put out, regardless of whether that's the majority. It's a message of, our community is supporting us, and most of you have said that you still want to pay, so that's the default option we are choosing. Hopefully there's some other options that members can take. But the other thing is, members want to support their local businesses, and they also want the personal support they get from that business, whether that's online workouts and classes or just being a part of that community. Lots of these clubs are putting on really personalized Zoom content or online content on Facebook Live, YouTube, whatever else, which really justifies the membership fee. And people want to pay that membership fee. It's absolutely the case for my Taekwondo club, for example, that I do with my son. we're doing Facebook Live sessions with the master instructor, the main lady who runs the business, which is awesome. So I'm quite happy to keep paying that. And then you've got this middle ground of the payment, what I call the paid freeze. As I say, nomenclature might not be what you use, but I'm going to describe it as paid freeze. It's this middle ground, which is either the default. The club would say, what we're doing, we've got all these tools and online options, and we expect you to pay 50%. Of course, that's a choice. If you want to pay more, you could. I don't know if many people, I know some independents have received bonus payments or a booking of more PT sessions or whatever for future to help their business. But of course, people can take this as an option and say, right, I'm just going with the default, or actually, no, I do want to suspend for free. The reason you have a paid freeze, well, it maintains a level of income. It also helps the smaller clubs to monitor their cancellations. So if they're taking, even if it's 5% or some kind of payment, even if it's £1 a month, it helps you see whose direct debit is still set up. If you're with a full payments provider, you should get that information from a report. You can get it from a bank report as well. If you ask your bank for your cancelled instructions, then you'll know that. But the point is, people are paying something, so you're probably putting some kind of digital or online offering out to them. So those are the three options as I see it, that a lot of clubs have either said, yep, we're going for one of these as the default, but then members obviously can call, and if people are trying to cancel, you might offer the free suspend. The point is, there's a member choice, and you've communicated that to your members, saying this is what's going to happen, this is the situation at the moment. Regardless of which of those three you pick, you will have had a bunch of cancellations. And I've talked in other webinars about how to handle those, so look those up online. I'll try and drop some links in here. The point is, this is month one. These were the options that, or you might have just chosen two of these and put these out to your members in month one. However, we are now entering month two, and whether or not you've got all three options still there, we are going to see a shift from members who, if they were already on a free suspend, presumably they're still going to be on a free suspend in month two. So that's fairly simple. A bunch of the people who are on a paid freeze probably will continue on the paid freeze if they're getting the value from your online content. If they're not, they might ask to, they might try and cancel, or they might ask to go on a free suspend. And if that's one of your options, I think it's important to have, because at some point further down the line, we're going to talk about bringing these members back. Those who paid in full, some of them, probably not all of them as we go into month two, are going to be happy to pay in full. I guess a certain amount will. And if your online content is really motivating them, keeping them active, then for sure they will. So it's about getting that content right. But some of those paid in fulls are going to drop down to, actually, I only want to pay 50%. Or that might even be an option you put out there because your business loan has come through and you say, we don't need your full support unless you really want to give it. Some also are going to go onto a free suspend. So let's just look in detail at what that means. Paid in full now. We're on the deluxe edition because this is the second month that people have paid in full. If you have full member support and you've got a full online offering with live workouts and live classes and all this kind of thing, I think, I know a lot of clubs are justifying members who pay in full. You want to think about, though, when you reopen, or even now, sending them some kind of coffee voucher, or if you've got a bunch of protein bars in your club that maybe have got a short sell-by date, get them in the post to these members, get them some kind of rewards, a voucher for when they come back, some kind of gift card, something like that, that they might not use themselves, but they might give to someone else. If they're really wanting to support you and you give them a £50 worth of PT gift card, and they don't want to use it, they could support you better by giving that to someone who's not a member to come down and visit you in future. So paid in full is still there. We're going to see a few more people freeze though, okay? But if they're paying something, you've got to make absolutely sure that you are giving them something for that. It might not be live sessions, but it might be online workouts. And this will become the default option, I think, maybe a 50% payment freeze for a lot of clubs who were previously on paid in full. As I say, because the business loans have come through, I think it's important to tell your members that that is where your business is at, that you're surviving, you're doing okay, and you thank them for their support with a payment. However, If people then want to suspend, well, yes, we're going to see more people shift onto this. Really important with the suspend members, you told them at month 1, and a bunch of them did open the email and did read it, and some of them cancelled, but others didn't. You've got to stay in touch with them. You've got to, whether it's through social media or through more communications, if you don't stay in touch with your members, just like live members, if they're not visiting at the moment, that they're all becoming dormant members, you've got to stay engaged with them. And if you don't, more will be cancelling. Sure, when you contact some of these suspended members, a few will cancel, but more will cancel if you don't communicate with them at all. So one of the keys, and as I say, I've been covering this on other podcasts and other blogs or webinars, stay in touch with all your members as much as you can through as many channels as you can. This is going to go on. There will be a few more cancellations. Hopefully that slice of pie is not as big as it was in month 1, but you will have more cancellations. Again, I've talked about that in other webinars, but you do need to monitor it. You do need to stay on top of your cancellations and talk to as many of them as you can, all of them ideally. You're not looking to turn them around. You're looking to show that you care for them and just reach out and check how they're doing. So this is going to go on. I'm not going to go through all the detail again. There's going to be a very similar picture. If we do go into month 3 of lockdown, which is a possibility, it's the same process again. You're going to get more people transitioning down to paid freeze or a free suspend. At some point though, and there's probably going to be more cancellations. Again, a smaller slice of the pie, but there will still be more cancellations the longer this goes on, I'm afraid. Let's go on to some good news though. When we reopen, what we would like to happen is we would like everyone to shift back to paying in full. However, that's not going to be possible probably from a social distancing point of view, but it's also not going to be possible for a lot of your members. So the ones that have paid in full all the way along, well, they can carry on paying in full. And in fact, when their direct debit resumes and the day your doors open, they're going to be the first in the club. They deserve to be, they want to be. So they get priority access, presumably, which is a good thing. You want to reward them. They might as well get your full online offering that you've now got up and running. They'll get some rewards, maybe a price fix, and all those coffees and cakes and gift cards and everything else you're going to give them, which, as I say, if they really want to support your business, they won't bin that £50 gift card. They'll give it to someone else. Some people on the paid freeze and the free suspend might want to come back to paid in full. And if you've got the capacity, depending on what the reopen strategy is, then that's great. Obviously, the more people you can get into paid in full, the better, if you've got the capacity to do it, depending on what the reopen strategy is in terms of social distancing and having to book to go and visit the gym. So you're giving priority to the people who paid in full all the way along. The people who were on a paid freeze, maybe they get some kind of priority over people who suspended, and maybe you can stage this. But also, some people who are on a freeze won't have the money to come back in the first month when we reopen, which is probably going to be a good thing from a social distancing point of view. So you're almost segmenting these members by what they've been doing through the lockdown. And some of the people on a suspend will want to stay on suspend. They won't have the funds to rejoin. People may still be furloughed, could have lost their jobs, or just plain won't be able to afford to come back yet. So having a suspend and a freeze option still will be key when we reopen. And offering them online only workouts is going to be great. So you've got this austerity freeze period. I don't know how long it's going to be. It will be different from club to club, from country to country. But it could also be, think of it as a new membership option. You're maintaining people's memberships. You're maintaining the connection in the community through online workouts, whether they're live or pre-recorded. And just you're setting up this new membership type, if you like, which actually you've been working on through lockdown, hopefully. And finally, the people who are suspended, well, if they are truly suspended, and this goes the same for the people who are on freeze, really, to send them a notification that you'd like to resume their DD when it's going to be possible for them to come and visit the gym, which might not be on day one after you reopen. If you send that notification out to, I don't know, 500 members, and 300 of them say not yet, I want to defer it for a month, that could be a perfect way of segmenting your members and having this priority segment of members that can visit in month one of reopening. So you want to thank the people who want to defer, because that will help with your reopening strategy and help with the social distancing and everything else, I expect. So having that kind of deferment and saying thank you for deferring, we'll be in touch again next month. We're not just going to take your money, we're going to ask you or maybe even give you the option to do it or not, depending on how many people we can let into the club. So the reopening is going to be interesting. I don't know how it's going to go. No one does yet. If you're watching this in 3 months' time, then you will know. But at the moment, today, on the 22nd of April, we're not sure. What we will have, though, is a new membership type. And you should be thinking about this right now and how this compares with your full payment and maybe your suspension options as well. This is a new membership that you're creating right now. If you've got people on a 5% freeze or a 50% freeze or whatever other kind of payment, you have kind of set up and developed an online training membership, which when you reopen, you put in these freeze people and trying to get the suspend people onto that, because there isn't room in the club yet for them to work out. So I think this is really interesting, or I hope it's interesting to look at it in this way. And also to say down the bottom here, we've got now all these people who left. So let's talk to all those members as well and say, hey, look, you left. We can't fit you back into the club yet, but there is space for you on our online platform. And for X pounds, dollars, euros a month, we can get you onto the online training platform ready for when there is space for you in the club to reopen. So thinking about how members are going through this journey is hopefully interesting and useful, but also on that kind of positive note, we need to look at when we reopen, how we're going to manage that, and how people go through this process, I think will help to define that as well. So in terms of some key points, pick a default for your club. You've already done it for month one, I expect, unless you just let every member choose what they wanted to do. If you did that, then pick a default for month two. It doesn't have to be the same. It can change depending on where your business is at. Listen to your members, but also look at what you need as a business to get through this for the next however long it's going to be. So pick a default, it can change. Offer a choice to your members, but give them a clear choice. And if you're giving them choices, if you're giving them all three choices, you can pay in full, you can freeze, or you can suspend, they won't think too much about the fourth choice, which is cancel, hopefully. And if you're starting off with suspend, the only place people are really going to go is down to cancel. So that's why I think a paid freeze is a good bet if you can't get away with paid in full. And the third point is communicate. Communicate to your members as much as possible. Be sending them stuff out. Yeah, sure, email's cheap and easy, but text them, send them postcards. Use your social media channels as well to communicate with them. And a fourth final point, if I can, is just to say, whoops, sorry. Something's gone wrong with my Prezi. Yeah, think ahead. So think ahead to what is coming next. Not just month N plus one. Hopefully, we're in month 2 now in the UK. Hopefully, in month 3 we will be reopening, but we're not sure. So think about what's going to be happening along that path, but also think about what we're going to have in September or December, whether we've got social distancing, and what else your online offerings can really provide and what you can sell it for, because that will help you to define what you need to be doing now. So I hope this has been helpful on managing membership payments. If you have any questions or would like to get in touch about anything I've said on here, then please drop me a line to guy@ggfit.com, or you can follow me on LinkedIn or Twitter or anything else. Pretty much @ggfit is the way to find out more and follow me and all those good things. But yes, any comments you've got or you want to reach out for anything, then yeah, please give me a shout. I would love to hear how you are getting on. And other than that, I want you to stay active, stay positive, stay in, and we will get through this together. Thank you very much.